We have people who take other people's kids, and we have people who get their kids taken away. And the difference between these two groups of people are structural inequities. But what I can't wrap my head around is how the people who are on the side of comfort, how they don't see it, and also how they will be defensive about it if you try to bring it up to them. They don't see it, and they won't accept it if you tell them either. We have a monthly call for helping professionals to help bridge the relationship between helping professionals and help seekers. And if you know about my personal lived experience, my first CPS encounter was due to a helping professional who shirked their duty of help. So one of the lessons or topics or themes, or even kind of like a thread throughout, many of the sessions that we've done they've all been really interconnected as we're just, talking about engagement and just different, zeroing in on different aspects of engaging and really bridging the gap between intent and impact, again, between someone whose role is to help and someone who is on the receiving end of help. And again, I will say this over and over and over again, engagement is determined by the end user. You cannot say you are helpful. You cannot say that you are helpful. You cannot tell someone and shove help down their throat. You have to have a relationship. You have to know what help is going to land, what help is going to meet the helping need that someone has. And you have to be open to feedback that what you're doing is actually unhelpful. Otherwise, your intention to help is not going to have the impact of being helpful to that person. So one of the threads, themes, topics was bias and assumptions, and we talked about cognitive biases. So I'm going to just read the definition here, and this is one definition. I just pulled it up off of Google. But a cognitive bias is a systematic error. A cognitive bias is systematic error in thinking where people interpret information and make judgments in a way that deviates from pure logic or rationality, often due to mental shortcuts for processing the vast amount of daily information. Key aspects, unconscious. Many cognitive biases operate automatically below conscious awareness. So we've shown the cognitive bias wheel, and it's expansive. There's so many different ways. And so what I have seen in my observations of people and trying to figure this child welfare stuff out and family well-being stuff out, I see a lot of affinity bias. So I'll give you one example. There was an employer who had a type for hiring. Like everyone that works at the place looks exactly the same. So, except some of them are a type and then some of them look like the boss. So I'm laughing because in this instance, this person hired a man that looked like them, but they were a woman. I'm like, how do you do that? Like, could have been their brother or something. They weren't related. This is something that I bring up. Like, I know every single person who's listening knows someone like this, where people marry people that have the same first letter as them. So like John Doe is married to Jane Doe. All these affinity things are really weird. If you are from a dominant group, class, race, socioeconomic status, privilege, and again, I will say this over and over again. When I say privilege, I do not mean that someone handed you something. I don't mean that you're a trust fund baby. When I say privilege, I mean that you can generally navigate life without people actively trying to stop you at every single thing that you're doing. That's it. And if you don't understand what that means, then you're probably privileged. Because people who are stopped at every single corner, they know what I'm talking about. You can feel it. You know that everything is a fight. Getting food, working, living somewhere, being treated with basic respect. Every single thing is a fight. And the people will say, pull you up from your bootstraps. I will pull myself up my bootstraps when you stop hurling stuff at me. When I'm not ducking and dodging and looking over my shoulder every 2 seconds, I will think about my boots. So yeah, so if you are in one of those groups, I'm going to tell you now, believe it or not, actually believe it. Please start believing it. There are people in your circle who are not nice to other people. I don't understand, because I don't think I would be proud of that, to know. So let me, I'm gonna make this specific for you. When we talk about these phenomenons, these things that are happening, people are doing them. People are doing them. If people weren't doing them, they wouldn't be happening, right? So for example, when we say that there's a bias, medical bias, and that one person can go to the doctor and it could say, we discussed options with patient and patient made an informed decision to decline. And the next person can go in and it could say, patient was angry and defensive. Patient went against medical advice. Patient is difficult. Okay, when we talk about these floating things, there's like actually a person behind that. There is a person who has that job, who has friends and family, who every day writes one set of medical notes for one person and one set of medical notes for someone else. And that goes for every role. There are people who provide help with a smile. It's my pleasure. And there are people who talk down to those that are coming to get help, and who scrutinize, and whose eyebrows are raised every single time a certain person walks in. And there are people on the other end of that, on the receiving end. We see this come up with the conversation of SNAP benefits, right? That there are people walking this earth who will be damned if someone uses an EBT card to get a birthday cake for their kid. There are people, and some of you all are friends with them. Some of you all are family members with them and have them at your dinner tables and feed them. And they can't stand the idea that someone was able to use a card to get a birthday cake for their child. This is the world that we live in. And the thing is that I don't understand is, how can you be friends with those people and you're comfortable with that and you don't think anything about it? I need some of you all to think about this. Are you okay with someone who treats certain people a certain way? And the thing is that, can you wrap your head around that? Can you accept it? Can you accept that someone who has always been nice to you, always treated you with respect, always given you things that you need, always told you the truth, supposedly, whatever, as far as your knowledge, can you accept that they will lie to someone else, that they will talk down to someone else, that they will make somebody and lie as far as even to write something in there that didn't even happen? Can you accept that? If someone to your best of your knowledge has always told you the truth, can you accept that they would falsify documents on someone else that could destroy their life? Can you accept that they would go out of their way to bring harm to someone who doesn't look like them, doesn't have a shared characteristic or a shared background, shared interest, shared status with them, whether it's class, whether it's race, whatever? Can you accept that? Because it's happening, because there are people who are spoken down to everywhere they go. There are people who are told no everywhere they go. They try to get jobs. They try to get assistance. They try to get help. They try to get all sorts of things. They try to get their needs met. They try to get services, and the door is slammed in their face everywhere. And the door is not slamming by itself. There is a person stopping. There's a person obstructing your ability to pull you up by your bootstraps, and then telling you that you're not good enough because you're not pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, and reinforcing you being beneath them and being stuck in that position. If you are not being oppressed and you feel like you're not oppressing, your friends are. Your friends and your family are. Would you stop them? Would you say anything? And if you found out, would you deny it? Because if you stick up for them, you deny it, you look the other way, you are also part of the problem. So once again, we have a group of people who are taking other people's kids. We have a group of people whose kids are getting taken away. Which side are you on? And if you're on the former side, what role do you play through action or inaction? What role are you playing?